Yesterday, in a Balance exclusive, we spoke to a whistleblower, Jack Maxey. He's allegedly in possession of a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop from hell, and Maxey claims he uncovered even more content, including 80,000 images and videos and 120,000 emails.
Well, for example, think how horrifying the original laptop was, and we only had 28,000 images. When we first took a look at the first 4,000 that we downloaded, it started out as little thumbnails that we enhanced. I was very uncomfortable looking past, say, the first 10.
He goes on to tell what he was seeing. Of course, Newsmax can't confirm that claim or exactly what is on the laptop, but whatever it is, it must be pretty bad because Jack Maxey fled to Switzerland fearing retaliation from the White House.
I showed some of this to a dear friend, Sharp Tip of the Spear, a fellow who also later had a very distinguished career in cybersecurity. And he looked at it and he said, wow, I should never have looked at that, Maxey. You know, if you don't release enough of this to make them know that you could release the whole thing, he said, they're going to get you. They're going to kill you.
So I asked him about his plan, especially if he fears for his own life and his safety.
I'm prepared to hand a copy to every NATO ally if that's what it takes. I'm prepared to go to multiple European police agencies to have those images looked at if that's what it takes. The American people have been betrayed. If we don't have a press that's willing to cover the hard stories and ask the hard questions, then the American people are never going to make good decisions at the polls.
So you see, folks, it all started with a massive cover-up, beginning with the Democrat media complex, big tech, the deep state. It's all the same. They're the political elites, the ruling class, and when there's a threat to their iron grip on power, they'll do anything to keep it. And Donald Trump was that greatest threat.
I'm fighting the deep state. I'm fighting the swamp. And I said I was doing it, and I'm exposing the swamp. I think if it keeps going the way I'm going, and Ratcliffe is fantastic, if it keeps going the way it's going, I have a chance to break the deep state.
If anyone doubted the deep state or the swamp, Donald Trump exposed it. But then this happened, an expose of the Biden family's shady business dealings, specifically how Hunter Biden introduced the big guy, Old Joe, to a top executive at a Ukrainian energy company. Ring any bells? Remember that? The never-before-revealed meeting is mentioned in this email, a message of appreciation to Vadim Pozarsky, an advisor to the board of Burisma, saying, quote, "Dear Hunter, thank you so much for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together." Wow. The day after that story broke, just 3 weeks before the election, again, America's oldest published newspaper, New York Post, founded by Alexander Hamilton, was censored, unable to share and distribute the story on social media. The blatant suppression of Hunter Biden's laptop news by the likes of the Washington Post, Twitter, Facebook, the New York Times, CNN, The Atlantic, and many more journalists at media companies is the most glaring example of mainstream media bias in my lifetime. And if you don't believe me, a writer for The Atlantic magazine, Ann Applebaum, who's also senior fellow at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, had this to say about Hunter's laptop.
A few weeks ago, the New York Times confirmed that the content is real. Do you think the media acted inappropriately when they instantly dismissed Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian disinformation?
My problem with Hunter Biden's laptop is I think it's totally irrelevant. I mean, it's not whether it's disinformation or, I mean, I don't think the Hunter Biden's business relationships have anything to do with who should be president of the United States. So I don't find it to be interesting.
Come on, Ann. Come on, Ann Applebaum. You didn't find it interesting? That's pathetic. That's a joke, and you're lying. This groundbreaking story just hit a little too close to home, right, Ann? Right before the 2020 elections, and it spooked the political class. This wasn't a part of their plans. They couldn't have it, so they censored it. But what they really didn't want you to remember was this.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
What you just heard happened 8 months after Hunter Biden received this email thanking him for the introduction to Joe Biden, who then later pressured the Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko, to fire the prosecutor investigating Burisma, the very company that hired his son, Hunter Biden, for $80,000 a month when he had no energy experience whatsoever. All this revealed and made possible because Hunter's laptop from hell was left at this repair shop. You can't make this stuff up, folks. And on that computer, scandalous and damaging content was released. Imagine if this story came out about Donald Trump Jr. or Ivanka. Do you think it would be censored? Of course not. It would have been the leading story on every news cycle, on every network. There'd be a national ink shortage with newspapers pounding out outrageous headlines. Stelter would go wall to wall on his reliable sources' left-wing propaganda show with it. But because it was Joe Biden, the Democrat challenger to one they couldn't stand, President Trump, they immediately dismissed it as Russian disinformation, of course.
The information found on the laptop may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Part of a Russian disinformation effort.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
Yeah, right. And now the New York Times and others are coming around admitting that Hunter's laptop is real. All of a sudden, they're investigative journalists. Well, it's a little too late now. This blockbuster story could have very well ended Biden's campaign and put Donald Trump back in office for a second term. But because journalism is compromised, it was covered up and censored. But there's a new development, and it's coming around again to haunt Joe and Hunter Biden. That whistleblower, Jack Maxey, who was first to get a copy of Hunter's hard drive to the New York Post, says he intends to share another 450 gigabytes of deleted material. Already deleted material. He's got it, though. And I can only imagine how bad it's really going to get for the Bidens.